Hi guys, I'm Blanca and we're here with the Kason update. I know that you guys have been waiting for it, so we're so excited to give you guys an update. We do want to say the video was a year ago and we didn't share it in that moment. God was doing a lot of things, has done a lot of things, but Kason is doing amazing. He's skateboarding, still eating Dave's chicken, and sharing the gospel. Obviously, like so many people have been touched, and we're so excited. He's so excited. But I am here with Kason's mom today, Kaylin, and I just want her to share a little bit of her backstory before we get into all your questions.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. I just want to start off by giving you guys a little background about my family and what we've been through. So I want to start off by saying, and we'll start off with, in 2019, my dad had passed away. He died at the age of 54 in flash floods on Valentine's Day. That was a very heartbreaking and hard time for my whole entire family. My boys were very close to my dad. And then fast forward 2 years later, my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 testicular cancer. And it was just a very hard time for us. My children watching him just suffer through the chemo, and it was just an extremely hard time for us. And I feel as if in that moment of when he was diagnosed with that, it was just the hardest thing that I've ever had to go through. And fast forward a year later, he was diagnosed in September of 2021, and he had passed away September 6th of 2022. He died 4 days after Kason's birthday. It was absolutely devastating to us. I felt as if the ground was ripped from beneath me. It was the most difficult thing I ever had to go through, and my children, and to watch my children grieve. I just felt myself overwhelmed with grief and uncertainty and not knowing what was next. And through those times, I just feel like I couldn't, especially thinking of the thought of raising my 3 boys alone. I just couldn't wrap my head around that. And I just found myself just not knowing what was next. Through that pain, my faith in Jesus was my lifeline. I turned to scripture for comfort. I resonated with verses that touched my heart deeply. And through that time, I knew that Jesus was guiding me, that he was with me through my pain, that he never left me. And I feel like he gave me that love and grace, and I opened my heart to him. And through that, I feel that he gave me, I know that he gave me a peace and hope that surpasses all understanding. And so, that being said, I feel like what I've learned from God is that the presence of pain does not equal the absence of God. And pain is the very thing that wakes us up to his presence. So that's what I just wanted to say a little bit about our background.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Kaylin. That's such a powerful testimony. And some of the questions that the viewers had, and I wanted, just to start off with some of those questions, is what was going on? What was going on in your mind when you saw Kason and you heard Kason, what he was saying? Like, what were you thinking?
So I just want to point out just one small thing, that the day that my husband passed away, he was saying not the exact same things, but the most similar things that Kason was saying. He was looking straight up, and he he did not have any idea what was going on around him. And the only thing he said to me was, I can't see, it's too bright. It's so beautiful. Those are the things that he was saying to me. So in that moment when I had to be in the waiting room and wait for his procedure to be done, and I'm in the waiting room praying to God for him to just guide the doctor's hands and to him to be with Kason. And as the nurse came to get me, as I walked in the room, the first thing that Kason said, before I started recording, at this point I wasn't even recording, he had said, I can't see, it's too bright. Immediately, it triggered so many emotions for me.
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting there, and he's just, as you know, as millions have seen, when I started recording, he continued, I mean, you all know what he said. But what was going through my mind was, there was not one minute that I did not think he was seeing what he was seeing. I knew he was seeing what he was seeing. Just the feeling in the room was so powerful. You just felt the presence of God. And even though that there was so much chaos going in the room, there was probably like 5 other children that were getting woken up from anesthesia and their parents, and there was a lot going on, a lot of chaos. And as Kason was speaking, there was a point to where I was filled with fear, and then I had to bring it back to, no, I have to have faith. Like, I know, like, this is okay. And I just could not help but be afraid that he was going to be with Jesus, and I'm not ready to lose my child. And so in those moments, I knew that he was seeing him, and that's why I was just overwhelmed with there were so many different emotions going on. It was just amazing. And I truly do believe that God used Kason as a vessel, for sure.
Yes.
And just to see how many lives that he has touched, it's so powerful, and it's beautiful. And I'm just so grateful for this. I just know that this was God. Let all the glory be to God.
Yes, absolutely. Another question that we've had a lot of people ask is, what happened? How did the accident, what led him to being in the hospital?
Yes.
So what happened to Kason?
So I don't even remember exactly what day it was, but we were at the skate park, and he had fallen and broken his arm pretty bad. And it was very traumatic because he's my first child to break a bone. And it was really terrifying for me. And we were in the hospital for 16 hours, no sleep, just traumatic going on. It was just traumatic experience. And they needed to reset his bone. So they had to put him under anesthesia in order to do that. And just him going in anesthesia was scary to me. I mean, for any mother, a child having to be put under is very terrifying. And so that's pretty much.
Which bone did he break?
He broke his, it was his, so I guess it was his forearm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then, so there's a lot of people asking, does he remember any of this? Does he remember the encounter that he had? Does he remember talking to his dad, his grandpa? Does he remember talking and seeing Jesus? What did Jesus look like?
Yes. So the day after it happened, I had showed him the video, and he immediately, just like everybody else, he started crying. Him and his brother were crying, and I asked him, Kason, do you remember any of that? And he had told me that he doesn't remember that at all. He just can't believe he's looking at himself in the video. And the only thing that he told me that he remembers is that it was really bright. And then being in a wheelchair going out to the car. So
now, what does he think about the video now that it's been released a year later? What does he feel? Because I know in the video he says, I want to share the gospel more. How has he been sharing the gospel? And how does he feel about that?
Yes.
Like, tell us about Kason. Everybody wants to know about Kason.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So Kason is a very special young man. All of my kids are very special. And
yes, they are.
And Kason is just overwhelmed with joy. Just the simple fact that he is touching lives. He is so moved that he's touching people's lives, and even bringing people to a saving faith in Jesus is just amazing. And he knows, he has told me that he knows that this is all God, that there's no other explanation but God. And he's a beautiful soul.
Amen. I love that. Her kids are amazing. Another question that's we have a lot of is about Brian. You know, he says, my name's not Kason, my name is Brian.
Yes.
What do you believe that means?
So I most definitely believe that when he says, my name is Brian, how it tells us in the Bible that we are given a new name in heaven. And the veil was lifted for him, and he was seeing heaven at that moment. I feel like that is exactly what that meant, and it's very scriptural. And I feel that when I looked up the name Brian, it means high and noble. And then I knew for sure, like, everything that he was saying is just so scriptural, and there's no other explanation but God.
Okay, so another common question that we have is, he's coming out of surgery, and so you mentioned that he was under anesthesia. So I want you to share with us what the room felt like, regardless of the anesthesia. What did you feel in the room?
The presence of God was so heavy that even one of the nurses had whispered in my ear that I should be recording this. And in the midst of my fear and me comforting my son, there was a peace that surpassed all understanding.
Yeah. So the nurses could feel it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Because you had mentioned to me that one of the nurses said she's never seen anything like this. Right. I mean, you believe that she was a believer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, there was a lot of joy, and people were laughing because there was a presence that was so heavy in the room. Another
question that we've been getting is, because he describes the eyes of God as fire. Has he read Revelations, the book of Revelations? Has he read the Bible to be able to remember that scripture?
Definitely not. He definitely has I know he's never read the book of Revelations. And the book of Revelations is honestly for people that are spiritually mature, and because it could scare you. Like, honestly, if you're not spiritually mature, that the book of Revelations would scare you, and for a child, definitely. And he did not know.
Okay. So has he read it now?
After I've been showing him verses, like just things that he says, how it lines up with scripture.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then another thing I kind of wanted to mention was we shared about 10 minutes of the video. How long is the original video?
The original video is at least 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we chose to just share just a clip because there's so much in that video, but I think the rest will be kept private for Kaylin and the boys. All right, Kaylin, I also want to ask you, what is something you want the world to receive from this video and from this message? What message do you have for them? Because there's millions of people who watch this, and there's millions of people that are going to watch this video. What message do you have for them?
That God is real, and for everyone's salvation, and for people to come to a saving faith in Jesus. And that I want people to open their hearts to God so that they can have an encounter like my son had.
Amen. So I have one last question for you, Kaylin. Why did you wait a year to share the video with anybody?
I didn't feel like it was the right time. I was waiting for God's timing, and God's timing is perfect. And just look at how many people it has impacted. It was the perfect time.
Definitely was. I think it's the perfect time. And we definitely did not ever imagine that it was going to have this amount of impact on anybody. There's been some messages that I've received that they were atheists and this has given them hope, or they just have lost their way with God. They've lost hope in God. They've lost their walk, and Kason, through this video, through Kason, God has moved in so many people's lives. I've also received a lot of messages of people asking, how can they help Kaylin and Kason and the rest of there's 3 boys and the other boys. So we have created a GoFund account that we're going to be sharing in the comments or link below. We're new to this. And then also people have asked about Kaylin's social medias. She's not a social media person. So we have created a social media for her, a TikTok account. It's at Kaylin Gray 1988. I will also tag her on this video so that you guys can go and follow her. Give her a little time so she can start posting some content because she's new to this. But you know, she will start sharing more of her story. God, we do feel that God is leading her to share for healing purposes and for also just for the world to share the gospel with the world. So we just thank you, and I want to thank you, Kaylin. I'm honored to be your friend, and I'm honored just to be part of this story with you guys. I know I've known your story, and I love you and the boys, so I just thank you.
I love you.